Fall is arriving all around the Northeast. Where we are, there's moderate signs in the canopy and in the colder air and shorter days. These signals encourage a slower approach to life, but the foliage brings about so much excitement that we always seem to have one final flare of energy to expend before settling into the cold season. So we recently spent a couple days up in the Adirondacks and were completely mesmerized by the colors. We stayed in a treehouse cabin, perched on a cliffside and encompassed in glass. It was as if we were one with the neighboring treetops, and we arrived in the late afternoon haze without any rigid agenda, so we savored the simple pleasures of the scenery and off-grid living until nightfall.
Transported beams for the staircase from Jack's, and then we all sat on his concrete slab and played banjo and guitar. That's literally the night with Marcel.
Yeah, you go through like a whole mindset practice, and then you start the daily gratitude journaling and manifesting and positive I am statements.
Hmm.
I just can't get over the fact.
I know.
Did you find matches?
Yeah. Beautiful golden morning. The air is pretty brisk, but it feels so rejuvenating to step outside and fight that urge to stay under the covers, cozied up. Just get out in that brisk, sharp air and just be amid all of the change that's happening. Oh, it's beautiful. I've been noticing my breath a lot more lately and how important it is to pay attention to that, because I find when I do take a moment to think about my breath, oftentimes it's choppy and short and can be shallow. It feels really amazing to just take a moment and breathe in through your nose. Hold it for a second and let it out your mouth and just reset and ground a bit. When I do this, especially in a spot like right here, I'm really able to sink into my setting and experience it more vividly and move my mind away from distractors and into the here and now. And that is something I think is really crucial Fall is so ephemeral. The foliage will come and go. I want to be appreciating it and being able to picture it clearly when I think back on it. The canopy is changing so rapidly. We're going to a waterfall when we leave here. Can't wait to see what it looks like. Waterfalls here are so stunning, and there's so many of them too beyond just the main one. It really makes me want to go swimming right now, but you're not allowed to here, though it is making me look forward to cold water dips this season so much. I didn't know if I was gonna get hit with the craving again, but it is back. Don't know what we're going to do next. We're kind of just exploring on and off the trails right now. And then we're gonna head out of here and cruise up the Adirondacks.
Wow.
Here it is, the spooky town.
Castle.
Mithy Shores. They got a big cannon. Whoa.
This road should be coming up on the right soon.
What's it called? Nice climb over here.
Our time in these mountains was brief. We mostly just kept moving and taking in as much as we could, pulling over often, and then winding down leaf-lined roads. We found a back road unlike any other and meandered along its trails and ponds, waiting for any sudden gust of wind to come and sprinkle some of nature's confetti all around us before heading back towards the Berkshires. This year I wanted to go in a bit more on seasonal items since it is my second year now with the shop, which is so surreal. So for fall, I have my fall spray that I've had since last year, but this year I have been making candles for it, and now I'm making a pumpkin pastry scrub, which is so good. I would literally eat this if I didn't know better. It's made from organic materials. I did brown sugar, infused it with jojoba oil, apricot oil, vitamin E, and then essential oils, and made a pumpkin spice with a vanilla glaze twist on it. And I feel like I've had a couple family members ask me how you would use it, so there's a ton of ways you could, but my favorite two ways are in the shower and by the sink. So you can put this in the shower. I do have little spoons that I'm going to be attaching to it, and you can just use one spoonful. As you can see, this is taking multiple spoonfuls, and the spoon's probably about this size, so you can get a bunch more uses than you would think out of this. It feels so good and it smells amazing. I can't even reiterate that enough. Or you can pop it on the sink and use it as a hand buff. The brown sugar exfoliates them, and then the oils in there get locked into your skin. They get to soak in deeply. It's really a dream come true to be able to envision a product and oftentimes grow some of the ingredients and do my own infusions and come up with things that are effective and pure and then share them with people. It's crazy, but this one will definitely help you get in the fall spirit. This breeze is so chilly. Whew. I love watching the foliage in the canopy. It's so orange right now, swaying every time the wind comes. It's been really on and off all morning. And I'm doing one of the last harvests for this year at the cabin, which is sort of sad, but you know, you get to do it every year. So this year has been crazy. It's a lot messier than I pictured, and it's not as lush. We didn't get quite the abundance I hoped for, but it has been such a learning year, and when we're here daily next year, things will go really well. I'm so grateful I had this practice round. I mean, when we were up here, we try to get up here a lot, but we're always putting all of our time into getting the cabin ready, so sometimes it feels like the garden takes a back seat, which is not what I wanted to happen, but it's just how it naturally played out. I was a little bummed out for a while that I didn't get to be in here so much and that it wasn't as green and fruitful as I had anticipated, but I feel like this is a great time to take a situation that could be viewed as negative and switch your perception into seeing it for the positive outcomes that it did bring. If there wasn't the drought this year, because we were relying on the water tank and this drip irrigation system I installed to do a lot of the watering, and then the drought happened and we couldn't keep the water tank filled. So if that didn't happen, I wouldn't have thought for the coming years to prepare for a drought. And as I get older and have different gardens and bigger gardens, there would be a lot more at stake. So I'm glad I learned this year that I need to be more prepared for a drought, and I can start to get creative and think about ways to handle that. I also had to come up here a lot and take 2 5-gallon buckets and bring them up from the river and dump them on the gardens on those really hot days to make sure they were at least getting something. And I would come out here just to do that and then go home. And that was a really great full body exercise. Got to get stronger, and I feel like I'm really firsthand learning the value of hard work and the connection it brings you to the project you're working on. I also feel like I learned to appreciate small victories. Like if a new leaf grew on something, I mean, this bay leaf hardly grew this year, but
1 or 2 leaves popped up towards the end of the season, and I thought it was the greatest thing ever. I feel like you can carry that mindset throughout your life too in different areas. So going forward, I'll take the lessons I learned this year, which also include not using fabric bags. I'm sure some things like the smaller pots or fabric bags, like our peppers did okay in them, but nothing else liked them, and I think I'll just put them in the ground next year. I need to space things out more. Certain things I can put more in the beds, and I'm also doing a little bit of an experiment with seeing what will come back. I have read into our specific growing zone and what will come back, you know, what's annual versus perennial, and a lot of these herbs should return. So I'm not going to completely take every little bit of them, but I'm going to harvest and clean up, start doing more infusions for my products and for culinary uses. Also, not gonna beat around the bush, a lot of plants did not do well at all. Like, some didn't produce anything. Our cabbages, I think they were too close together, but also the drought plays into this a lot, but cabbages didn't do anything. My patch of carrots looks promising, but I just went to pick one and it was so small. But I'm pretty sure they can stay in there right up until the frost, so I'm going to give them a little more time. It has been raining a lot more now. Maybe something will happen with them, who knows. It is what it is. I feel happy about everything here. I have a whole basket of stuff to take home. That's so exciting. I can already picture what it's going to be like when we're here full time and we want to cook something in the summer season. I just come up here and take what we need for the meal and immediately prepare it. So different from what we're accustomed to now. I've gotten tastes of it throughout the last 2 years of gardening, but next year will be a dream come true. Well, I think it's supposed to rain today, so I should probably finish this before I get stuck in the rain. The cold rain.
As I left the cabin, the rain came and leaves were falling in every direction, but things felt really calm for a moment, and I thought back on something I wrote last fall. It was only a few months after I took the jump and ended my corporate career. It goes like this. I am a group of autumn leaves that are drifting from the tree, a snowflake dancing in the wind after winter's first freeze, a whirling and twirling and buzzing spring bee, a fluffy dandelion seed in the early summer breeze. I am who I am and can finally be free. I float through the seasons with poise and ease. Ski mountains.
It's so cool too that they're red. Just like such a classic look from down on the ground. There's probably so many cool shots from down on the ground. Rocky up at the top too. I never really noticed the top.
Oh, there's people walking right there.